Hey everyone, good day. Thanks to everyone for joining this meetup and virtual fireside chat on blockchain sustainability through a data optimized ecosystem. For the first 20 minutes, all the participants will be in listen only mode. And then for the last 10 minutes, we'll open it up to questions and answers. Even if you have comments, thoughts, perspectives, that's what we'll do for the last 10 minutes. But first, I just wanted to introduce our guest speakers, Anthony Syams from COTIT and Paul Walsh from Greenheart. Thank you both very much for joining the fireside today. Really excited to talk about all things sustainability, tracing, blockchain, materials management, supply chain management, ag tech, and many other topics covered in the next 18 minutes. But thank you very much.
Oh, thanks, Shawn.
Yeah, cool. So yeah, we'll just get into it. I'll start with Paul. Paul, what is Greenheart and what prompted you to start Greenheart?
Well, Greenheart is I would call it a decentralized funding platform for agriculture as a whole. So we started within the hemp space here in Ireland over 4 years ago. We got into manufacturing CBD and helping farmers get into the process of using AI drones for plant optimization. So what happened is we went on a bit of a journey and found out that there was a lot of problems within the industry, like payment processors, government backing, banks, a number of different issues. So we built out our own blockchain technology for the space, which is the CBD token, which gives a number of utilities for customers on products, farmers on technology, and then community token holders on rewards. That's the best way of explaining it.
Fantastic. Love it. And we'll expand upon that momentarily. But Anthony, COTIT, what is COTIT and what prompted you and Fabian to start COTIT?
So we created a 360 degrees data traceability platform, which is basically a modular software-driven data infrastructure. And what is that? Well, as most of you might know, most corporate companies have a lot of systems in place, meaning data scattered throughout the organization. So basically what we do with the modular approach, we plug our modules on existing systems so you can start consolidating data and start creating analytics, dashboards, work on your sustainability goals, efficiency goals, and obviously bridge toward new technology such as AI, Internet of Things, and obviously blockchain. So that's what we do. And one of the practices is really making that supply chain traceable and visible throughout the entire journey to really work towards the circular economy.
Thank you. When you talk about the circular economy and the supply chain, are you saying that this begins really with the sourcing of materials, products, and whatever your line of business may be? It starts with the sourcing of materials. For example, that's the manufacturer to the distributor and then out to the consumers and retailers.
Basically, those are obviously the activities within the supply chain. So sourcing the materials, distributing these materials to become products within the production. But obviously, throughout the entire journey of the supply chain, you have data. And that's where actually the circular economy starts, gathering the data to really start measuring if we truly are sustainable and working towards net zero, or we're still doing something that's actually in a loop of things. Because you know it, as most of us know, with the greenwashing and etc., It's like, it's very easy to think it's more sustainable, but then is it really sustainable? How do we know?
Yeah, well, let's jump in there,
Go
guys.
ahead, Paul. Yeah.
We work with hemp, which is a sustainable crop. So we're the manufacturer from the start. So we actually produce our own crop and grow it, and then we bring it to our production facilities, manufacture it, and then we distribute it onto the market. And we have our own application, which is a marketplace for the overall industry. So suppliers can actually use the blockchain to upload their products onto smart contracts and sell them into a fair shared economy. So we have a number of data points where we collect on the circular economy ourselves, which is the drone technology in the farms, flying every half an hour to collect this data on the agricultural crop. Then in the process, the weigh in of the raw material, how much product is coming out of that raw material. Zero waste within the facility itself. So because it's we can use every part of the plant, we have zero waste. And then the sales of that end product into the market. So we collect those 3 data points within being a farmer, being a producer, and then being the marketplace ourselves. So we're over a 2 or 3 year period, we should have the data points to show how we're a true circular economy and how our rewards and infrastructure can be sustained over a long period of time, if that makes sense.
It's fantastic, actually. It's fantastic. I think that's the perfect use cases that we need to start building, because then other companies can get inspired to do the same thing, right? Because obviously there are a lot of inefficiencies in other industry, and we can really take an example of that. That's why I think data is so important, right? Because once you collect the data, we can also share our practices and do things better in society, right?
Yeah, and with the hemp crop, particularly in the zero net, as you put it, we do the likes of hempcrete, which is a carbon secretion device, like it just sucks carbon for its lifespan. Do you know what I mean? So out of an agricultural raw material, we're turning into a product which is now a benefit to the environment. So the longevity of hemp and the usability of hemp is the perfect agricultural crop to start with, because it has 50,000 uses. I'm sure you've gone into your supermarkets and seen hemp shampoo, hemp cosmetics, CBD oils. Do you know what I mean? It's become a very used crop now across the world. So the data streams is what the farmers have been missing out on. Do you know what I mean? They haven't been recording data, just been growing it to make cash crop, but they haven't been overlaying the infrastructure of technology on top, using blockchain technology for transparency, using the blockchain technology to store the actual data from the drones in production on, relaying the products with QR codes. So when the consumer gets the product, they can scan it and get all this data firsthand. So they can actually see the quality of the product itself, how sustainable the product is, the benefits in buying that product in a sense. And if we had transparency across every industry like that, we'd be able to fix the world very fast, I think.
I believe so. I believe the same, yeah. And I think even best practices, right? Like blueprints to for the implications, because you say with hemp you can do so many things. I read somewhere that even with hemp you can use it for construction purposes as well. So if you have those blueprints, it's amazing. And when you can start sharing its data, then we are really working as a society together to get to this net zero goal.
Yeah, well, that's exactly it. And it just comes down to funding. I think everyone has dreams and aspirations in the world, and they want to go out and build things, but it all comes down to funding and backing at the end of the day. And like, if you look at 90% of farmers globally, these are very poor people living on under $1 a day. They are using the farm to actually live. They're growing crops that they need to sustain themselves. They're not growing crops for the likes of selling them now in the local farmers market. There's a lot of land space that is very poor areas that just don't have technology infrastructure. So if you can imagine crypto communities coming together as a whole and saying, right, well, we need to produce so-and-so for the future. Let's fund the farmers directly using blockchain technology. That's what we're trying to create in Greenheart, is that funding mechanism for the unbanked world, and that overall data collection outside of just the norm of your industrialized cities. you're talking rural landscapes across the planet. I think a lot can be achieved if we can get the data streams in, because data is king here. Because at Greenheart, particularly, like, we're doing futures markets, so like we're doing a gamification on top of the rewards where we can predict like what a farm's going to produce over a 60-year period. And if one of these farms producing $10 million of raw material, selling $5 million at the end of the market, it's going to be producing this over a long period of time, depending if the market keeps growing the way it does. So the data will tell these goals and objectives that we'll be able to hit once we put in the technology. And like Anthony's company, it's brilliant to see other companies out there trying to achieve this.
Yeah, absolutely. It makes me just kind of envision the blockchain for a quick moment for agriculture and farming. The way I see it is that, what Greenheart has done, Paul, is created this fully meshed topology, this ecosystem of farmers where you are exchanging information, gathering the data, making more informed decisions about predictions and trends in terms of crops, in terms of rain, in terms of cultivation, in terms of giving back to the community. And as you said, incentives, within the blockchain, along with the smart contracts, which de-risk any chance of fraudulent activity from source to destination. So traditionally, many of us as consumers, it's a one-to-one relationship between us as the consumer and what we are purchasing. But if we can all, including the participants on this call for a moment, whatever your day-to-day job is, and even as consumers, envision this blockchain as community-driven. It's fully meshed, so I can talk to any one of you and make more informed decisions, buying decisions, which gives us more, arguably, buying power, which optimizes our costs, for those who are firmly rooted in the supply chain and whatever industry that may be. We start thinking about, geolocation, carbon reduction through carbon incentives, and obviously saving on costs, right? And then I start thinking about all of the data that I have at my fingertips. I start thinking about data models, and Anthony alluded to it, a blueprint. So how I would typically approach this is looking at the data in three ways. I would look at key risk indicators, key performance indicators, and key behavioral indicators as ways to slice and dice this data relative to my role in this ecosystem. Some of us want to reduce risks. Some of us want to see the behavior in terms of buying, what is actually selling, customer retention, right? And then, of course, we want to see the performance to ensure that as consumers in this ecosystem I've built, that it's operationally efficient, it's not kludgy and clunky, and I can easily gain access at any given time to the data and the information that I'm actually looking for and seeking. So I could then trade that with Paul and Anthony and others.
Oh, 100%, Shawn. And I think if we can get an envision of like DAO infrastructures where are the decentralized autonomous organizations, which means, like, for instance, if you were a Greenheart token holder, in the future, the DAO, when we hit 1 billion market capitalization, unlocks to help fund these unbanked worlds, these farms that need this technology and data infrastructure. Now, as a consumer, as a token holder, you're going to be making the decisions within the company. You're going to have voting rights on where that funding is spent and where it's going and what particular farm it's going and what particular technology it's going. Like Anthony said earlier, we have construction capabilities. Do you know what I mean? We have medical capabilities, food capabilities. Has a number of different capabilities within it. And I think the community token holders get to decide where that funding is spent, because they're going to have the behavior of what products are needed, like whether it's paper, rope, clothes, shampoos, whatever is needed in an aspect, they'll be able to vote for farms to get that particular technology so they can start producing it in their area. And I think that's very important, because instead of the supply line being scattered as a consciousness, it is connected where you can connect directly to the farmer, you can speak to the community, you can see exactly what products are hot and what we need to produce for the likes of building materials, homes, carbon negativity. And I think there's more incentives to then come once those data streams are in and once those initiatives are hit. I think the DAO can become the overall company itself. You know, it's an ecosystem. Then it's a true circular economy. It's being run by the actual consensus of the holders. So I think it's very interesting, Shawn, what you just said.
Thank you very much, Paul. Yes, and you as well. So we're moving away from the unidirectional, which is traditionally what all of us have been, a part of and operating in, and moving to this DAO, decentralized autonomous organization, where all of us are exchanging information, and then we start giving incentives to each other, right? Mm-hmm. Both as consumers and the day-to-day industries that all of us are a part of.
Yeah, and I think to make that more as well realistic, because obviously you have these nice initiatives such as the DAO and the blockchain and etc. And last time when we had the discussion, I mentioned, we're talking a lot about the Web3, but officially we're still in Web2, right? And there's a lot of data in Web2 which need to be gathered first. It needs to be gathered and bridge it towards Web3. Last time I mentioned Web 2.5, and that's actually where we need to start building Web 2.5 to really bridge toward these new initiatives, which makes the information sharing much more efficient and much more better, actually, to have all these initiatives.
Yeah, and I think it's where it's exciting as well, Anthony, because particularly in my industry, like we're in agriculture, but we're in the hemp industry, and that's regulated. It's its own niche. So we created a capped token of 150 million supply. So now what we're trying to do is unify the whole industry under one token, one economics, and use that token as a standard for fair distribution. So if you take all niche industries across from Web 2 and you build this bridge where you can start to plug these data streams and tokenization on top of the business into capped market supplies, and then you're pulling that normal funding mechanism, which is a fiat currency model from the Web 2 into these niche cap tokenized markets, which are communities. So I think that's where we're going. That's from the looks of things over the last number of years. Mm-hmm. So tokenization is keep occurring in real estate, agriculture, art. It's expanded, ESG. So you're dead right. That bridge is really what needs to happen. I think Web 2 needs to trust where Web 3 is going and the transparency and the technology. It was like when the internet was first born and nobody trusted it. Now we're at that stage again where Web 2 now has to trust Web 3, and that adoption will happen. And it's going to be very cool to see, because as we know, with the likes of Meta and these PlayStation headsets coming out, VR is becoming a now known thing. It's a lot of people have it. So technology is going to start adapting into that as well. And that's where these bridges from Web 2 into Web 3 will get very interesting.
Yeah. And I think actually the internet is the exact right example of how it should work, right? Because internet is a network of networks. The information sharing works because it's all is connected to each other. And I think that should happen with data, software, and all of these things that's already out there. And for some reason, we created all of these islands and with these lock-in models and say, this software is the best. No, that software is the best. And then you build into that software. But in the end, it should be all connected, because that's what the internet built for.
Yeah, 100%. And what's happened is kind of blockchain as a whole. So if you take layer 1 blockchain, which is the likes of your Bitcoins, Ethereums, your Polygons, and so on, that they're the ones that you actually build on top of, right? If you think these as like planets, so Ethereum is like an Earth. Do you know what I mean? You've got these planets that in the planet itself, you can only use this cryptocurrency. But now what's happening is that they're bridging these worlds together, and these bridges where you can change the currency over very simply. Like it's called layer 0. So you've got layer 1, layer 2, and then you've created layer 0, which is transactionless. So you've no fee to bring it from one kind of world to the next. There's no fee in between the change, which creates then this one connected cryptocurrency world where all the chains start connecting. So in the VR future that I see, this gamification that is coming, like it's like a No Man's Sky game, Anthony, where you can just go from one world into Ethereum, into the Polygon world. And you're going to have all these metaverse worlds with your avatars and your applications and your data streams and your rewards. So it's very interesting where it's going. It's like the internet 3D in a sense, isn't it?
Multi-dimensional reality.
Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. Throw quantum computing in there, guys, and we're laughing.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Yes,
Awesome.
yes.
Gentlemen, we
Yeah.
have to start opening for questions. It's 11:22.
Yes.
Brilliant.
Fantastic. Yes. So we welcome any comments, thoughts, perspectives, questions that anyone may have. Everyone has been unmuted, so feel free to take yourself off mute if you have something you'd like to share, question you would like to ask.
Otherwise, we'll just continue the conversation because it was good.
Oh, good, I think.
Yeah. I'm not sensing any question.
I'll have a question. I'll take.
Oh.
This is Julie here.
Oh, hello, Julia. Yeah.
Hi. This is so fascinating. It's amazing. Can you give us, like, for Greenheart, like, one example of an amazing, like, something that really made a difference for one of your farmers?
Oh, yeah, of course. Right. Okay. So first year farming, I approached a farm in Ireland. I asked them what their issues were. They said they knew how to grow the crop, but they had no technology, no extraction technology, no data streams, no government funding. Found it very hard to get a bank and a payment processor. So like it's high risk basically. So for a farmer, he's going to have to get into like kind of high levels of business in a sense. So what we did is when we first started growing with the farmer, we brought in an agricultural drone. Now this drone had multi-spectrum imaging. So there's two different growing types in the world. There's American style, which is feminized, where you have them nice in a line. And then there's European style, where they scatter the seed and it grows up all male and female. So it's just all bunched together. And what happens is that the male pollinates the female and creates seed. So it loses the flower and turns into seed then. But the Americans, and that way of growing, they want the feminized. So they want just flower so you can smoke it. So it's not the way the Europeans were doing it. That's not the Europeans' farmers' way. So when we brought in the drone to overlay over the crop, guys, we used the multi-spectrum imaging, and we're looking for different indicators to see whether any mold was occurring, any dry spots, where was the density occurring, did slants or any different types of landscape have any occurrence of difference. There's a number of data indications we're looking for, but I was amazed to find that through different spectrums of light, we're able to tell the difference between male and female crops. So what we did with the drone technology in the Irish farmers over the last couple of years is we used the drones to spot out the males. And we've been developing the drone bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger for the farmers. So it went from a small scale drone to a 4.5 foot drone. I'll send Shawn on pictures so you can post them. And it has a sprayer tank on it, and we're creating a agricultural arm. So what we're trying to do with the drone is actually feminize outdoor crops. But if we're able to use the drone technology to take scattered seed and basically feminize that outdoors with that seed, we reduce cost dramatically. I mean, the feminized outdoors is a normal cost as a would for a European farmer grown scattered seed, and that's revolutionary. So that takes the farmers to the next step of profitability. Now, to give you an indication, using the drone technology, the average farmer in Ireland was growing 100 kg of dried flower per acre to 200 kg. With the data streams we had coming in, we managed to get 1,000 kg of dried flower per acre. Now, I don't know if it was the data streams, do you know what I mean, or was the year, but we hit it 2 years running with our data streams. So we got it 2 years to that prediction. And it was because the data streams was telling us when to plant. So saying that it's too cold now, do you know what I mean? Don't wait. I know it's the cycle and you're supposed to plant now, but whatever's happening with the environment, don't plant now. And we'd wait late into the season. You're talking the end of May, where all the farmers are going to plant their hemp start of May. We waited to the end of May, 1st of June, when it was a bit hot. Put the seed in then. Do you know what I mean? We had a bit longer cycle into the September, where farmers were harvesting the end of August. We were harvesting like the end of September, but we were getting 5x yields. So like the drone technology as a whole, it could optimize the yields of the crop, but then it could also use the data streams to build technology to feminize the fields of the crop, which then would make it even more profitable. So not only did we get more yields, but we could in the future get more profitability out of the feminization aspect, if that makes sense. So I thought that was a huge benefit for the farmer that we were working with, and the technology and the power of the data. I thought that was a good story for that.
That's absolutely incredible. And just the land use alone is amazing. Thank you.
No problem, Julie. Anytime.
Nice. Any other questions, comments, thoughts, perspectives from the audience?
No, I think we're good.
Yeah. I think we're really good. I'm feeling really good after this conversation.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
And actually, I get inspired by the Greenheart innovation, right? Because actually, when I hear you talking, Paul, I say, oh wow, this is a data stream from the Android. You want to visualize that? You have the data of the spraying and everything that's going on, and that's already if you can create it on a dashboard and have some analytics and then put some AI on top of it, you have some magic going on.
Yeah, well, that's a gamification, Anthony. So I'm really excited for the future, because once we kind of have these data streams come in from the marketplace, the drones, the production, we kind of know how much material we're working with, how much profitability we're working with, the divides within the ecosystem, right? We built a smart contract, Anthony, that splits 5 ways. So when a purchase happens on the product within the marketplace, it goes to the farmer. It goes to the staking pool from that region, which is where the rewards the community get. It goes to the sales team, which are selling the product digitally. These are like the influencers and so on, getting commissions off sales, you could say. This is the sales leaderboard. Then you've got the DAO, and the DAO is like the charity funding aspect. So 20% goes there. And then you've obviously got the company, which is the running operations. But what we have is built in the marketplace that is a manufacturing come in and use this technology, not just Greenheart and its farmers. So say you're a brand and you've got a CBD, or hemp products, and you want to use our marketplace and our sales team and our smart contracts and our token to sell your product. You can upload it into the marketplace. You get a 60% split, 20% goes to the DAO and 20% goes to the sales team. So now what the magic is with this platform, say you have a brand which is an early adopter, start selling product at our current price to under 1 cent. After we've gained momentum and the token price starts to rise, the manufacturer starts to realize, hold on, it's gone from 1 cent to 10 cents. I sold the product and got a 10x return because of the token price. So like the economics of it is very cool in a sense, because I don't think that's been done in the manufacturing world before. Like getting a multiple X return on selling a product through the token that you sell it to. And then the overall rewards going back evenly to the community and the farmer and do you know what I mean? The smart contract that is being born in the last few years is beautiful. Like you can overlay this into so many industries, and then we can take the data streams, So we know all the data streams, we know where the rewards are, we know what the raw materials are, we know what everything is, and then we can overlay into a smart contract and boom, everybody's paid for it.
Absolutely. That's
the
plan.
That's the plan, guys. That's
Yeah,
the plan. Sorry, I took the talk a bit.
No, you're great, Paul. You're great. That was brilliant. And I would say for those out there still, right, know your data. If you don't know where your data is, data discovery, know your assets, come up with measurements, criteria, right? And start baselining it that way first and foremost. And that's really the inception into the world of data and how to utilize it for your supply chain, whether you're a manufacturer, distributor, you're one and the same. It's knowing where the data is to begin and what you can glean and gather from that. And I would even say that, you know, for those out there who are in the world of asset management, you know, having a good, clean, accurate asset inventory is absolutely essential. And that applies to any industry, right? So
correct. And Shawn, to jump in there, if any industry or any company is looking for these services, Anthony's company is just it, isn't it? So he's the provider to, if you don't have the knowledge or if you don't have the services, he comes in on top and he starts to implement that technology, if I'm correct, Anthony.
Yeah. We use the components to really make that happen. And if you have systems in place, you can keep the systems, because most of the time migration brings a lot of headache, right? Because you have the data already there, safely secured, and you don't want to move it away because it brings so many risks. So what we say is, okay, keep your systems, and we plug into those systems so you can have this modular approach. Because it's like the same, it's like a car, right? If your motor breaks down or your tire is flat, you can remove it and put another tire. It's the same how a system should work, but because now the system doesn't work like this. You have this system, and if something's wrong, you want to move it, you get stuck. You have this lock in. So if you approach it like a modular way, then yeah, it's much more easier to replace things and add things on and really enrich and enhance your business moving forward into the future, making your business more sustainable, more efficient, and taking part of the circular economy, obviously.
Right on.
Beautiful. Nailed
I
it.
love it.
We passed the time a little bit. Sorry, everybody.
Apologies, everyone. For those who have attended, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day. Make it a bright day. Paul and Anthony, thank you so much for your time, your insights, your wisdom, and for sharing this with everyone.
Thank you.
No problem. Thanks for having us, Shawn. Looking forward to any questions, follow up. Thank you.
Right on. Most definitely.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Cheers.
Cheers.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.